Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. I tell you, it's been a while, man, since I've been down in the Seaman Cave recording anything that wasn't a Margarita Monday meetup episode. And a lot of things go into that. This pandemic has just, I think, changed life in a lot of ways that are just unexpected and it's moved my schedule around, and it's just an interesting beast to kind of dive into. And with, a lack of content coming out, I feel like I have a lack of content to put up, but we're going to try to correct that, man. We've had some new things come out that I want to sit down and talk about review-wise. Finally starting to see some new trailers pop up, so we might want to check some of those out. A couple other things to maybe get some more videos up in here, because I've just been watching and catching up on TV and stuff, and not really talking. But before I could get there, something literally just happened. I was like, I can't not talk about. I need to. I am so excited. I got so much energy in my body. I need to get it out. And the best way for me to get it out is to just do it with you guys. So it's been a while since we've done anything news-oriented on the show. But we got some breaking news here on the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. So why don't you pull up a chair, man? Take a seat. We are getting ready to talk about the reality of Zack Snyder's Justice League hitting HBO Max in 2021. Oh, it's official! It is happening. We literally got our official confirmation from the man himself, but, minutes ago. So before I get ahead of myself, if you follow Zack Snyder on social media, you would have known that he had a live stream today where he was doing a watch-along party for Man of Steel. Now, I didn't have Man of Steel up, but I've seen it enough times, and I listened to enough commentaries and podcasts where I was like, if I just listen to Zach talking about the movie, I'll understand where he is in the film and like what he's going on, what he's talking about, because I'm a big fan of Man of Steel. So I'm listening along. Great stream, as to be expected from Snyder. Gives a lot of great insights into the making and the things that were going on in the movie. I'm really enjoying it. But in the back of my brain, I was like, there's one reason to watch this stream, and it's because there might be, an update of some kind to the Snyder cut. And long story short, and I'll give you the whole story, but I want to show it to you, man. At the end of the stream, he throws up, bum, 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 this image. Zack Snyder's Justice League, HBO Max 2021. I'm not making it up, man. It is real. It is happening. And like I said, watching the stream, back in my head, I was like, I hope that he announces it today. I want to see it happen live. I want to get excited. And we're coming down to like the last 10 minutes of the movie. And all of a sudden, the kind of screen gets jumbled and slides. And now it was on Vero, and Vero's powered by Zoom. So all of a sudden, it looked like a Zoom call. I'm like, what? And Henry Cavill pops up into the screen. I wasn't expecting to see him. And I'm like, oh my, I geeked out first that Henry Cavill was on. And you see, I'll just pull up. This is what we were looking at. So it was Zach the whole time. And then boom, all of a sudden, Henry Cavill just popping up in there. And the minute he popped up, I was like, oh, something's cooking. Now, last time Snyder had a stream, he started to go into, like, oh, I've got this big, I want to talk about the Snyder. And before he could talk about it, the feed stops. So when Cavill pops on, I'm like, well, this is it's got to be Snyder Cut related. Like, why else would Cavill pop on? But it was just cool to watch Cavill on the screen, have him and Zach interact through the last 10 minutes of the movie. And then they kind of just talked back and forth for a little bit, which was really awesome. A lot of great insights, things, that you've heard probably from Cavill before, some things that, I hadn't heard. And just seeing him watch the end of the movie, talking to Zach, like, it was just cool. You can tell how much he loves and cares about the character. And seeing stuff like that, for me personally, just hopes that Warner Brothers can fix, the deal, and as well as Cavill, that they can come to some sort of mutual agreement and fix this deal and get him back into the Superman suit. Because I think it goes without saying, that after Christopher Reeves, it's a no-brainer. Like, Henry Cavill is Superman, and I think he's never really gotten the chance to really show that off. I would love to see it. So, it was like, oh man, maybe he's gonna say something about a contract. Like, okay, maybe this was a misdirect. Like, maybe it wasn't Justice League. Maybe Cavill's gonna say something. Cavill doesn't say anything. And I'm like, he's got to say, something's got to be coming. And then all of a sudden, he's like, well, we got, I thought we'd do a Q&A, but now, since you're here, let me bring some people in. And people start popping up on the screen, and multiple people either have things in the background or are wearing shirts that have the Justice League logo and says Zack Snyder's Justice League. The minute I saw those, I was like, oh, this is too fishy. Like, it's too much of a coincidence for all these people. And some of the people are people that Zack seems to know, just the way in which he was talking to them. So I'm like, man, like, maybe, I don't know, whatever it is. So all these people are on, and they get to this one woman who isn't wearing any of the Zack Snyder stuff, doesn't seem to be in the group. There was a small group that seemed that, like, he didn't know them, and this woman seemed to be one. She's like, look, I'm just going to get right to the hard questions, and it has to do with fandom. And Zack's like, oh man, I'm scared. And Cavill's like, I'm scared. And she's like, when are you releasing the Snyder Cut? And immediately everyone on the call is like, and they're all yelling like, don't cut the feed out this time. Like, and him and Henry start laughing, and then they just start honestly talking about it. And how Zack's like, look, I hope it becomes, something that we see down the road, but like, I don't own it right now. I don't have anything to show. Like, it's got to go through different channels and other people who technically own it, that like he can't just release it. And then he kind of asks Henry to answer, and Henry just kind of starts going into how much, like, watching the movie and how much Man of Steel meant. Now I'm like, oh man, how are we circling back to the Man of Steel stuff? And then he starts to get back into like the Snyder Cut, and like, how it was unfortunate that he had the mustache in the movie. He'd like to see a version of that where he doesn't have the mustache, and they're kind of just joking back and forth. And all of a sudden, Henry just goes, I just think you should show it. And Zack's like, what do you mean? He's like, I think you should just show it. Like, just put it out there. And Zack all of a sudden starts to move, and he's like messing with his iPad, which is what the stream is running on. And you're like, no, he's not gonna. He's like, look, I can't show it because technically it's not finished. I don't have a finished product to give you, but maybe I got something that could help. And I'm like, oh my god, if you show me, like, for whatever reason, I was just kind of, the way the stream was going to the end, I was like, maybe there isn't an announcement coming, but maybe he's gonna tease us with like a little bit of a shot of something, like maybe Darkseid, I don't know, some sort of footage. And all of a sudden he's like, well, maybe this will help, and he flips it, and that image that I showed you with the Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League, HBO Max 2021, pops up on the screen. Everybody starts freaking out on the stream. I'm freaking out on my couch, and then everything just kind of freezes and stops. Same thing. He just kind of cut it out right after that. But we now know for real that Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut, is going to be released. There's a deal that has been done with HBO Max. I don't know the details of the deal. I haven't seen anything pop up in the trade yet in regards to this. Like I said, it literally just happened. But I was like, I don't need to know the terms of the deal. I just need to know it's 2021, and that's happening. And that was what Zack said. He's like, there's stuff that we need to go back and shoot, so we're tracking for a 2021 release on HBO Max, which is so exciting because that means that Warner Brothers and DC are behind it. That means whatever Zack showed them, they were like, okay, let's make this happen. Like, there's so many people getting behind this movement. And like in the course of the timeline, this has been going on since 2017, right? Justice League comes out, poor, not great reviews, slightly better than some of the other stuff, but fans aren't really digging it. A lot of people start coming out going, this clearly isn't Zack's vision, and because of the uncanny valley and Henry Cavill's lip from having a mustache from the reshoots with Joss Whedon, you could tell a lot of it was Joss's reshoots in the film, and then the tone of the film felt much like Joss's. So then at change.org, there was a like, release the Snyder Cut, and I was like, that's so cool, man. Like, I would love to see that happen. And back in the day, it was just a pipe dream, back in 2017 when people were starting to talk about it. But then Zack started releasing things. And the more he released, the more I was like, God, I want to see this cut of the movie, man. Like, Darkseid's supposed to be there. There's supposed to be lanterns. Like, all these things as a DC fan, I'm just like, look, I get it. The darkness and the vision that Snyder has doesn't quite sync up, with what DC is. It's, but I respect his vision, and I like the things that he was doing. And it's like, yeah, it might not be my Superman, but I like this take on Superman. And Lord knows, the Ben Affleck Batman, I think, is the best Batman we've ever seen on screen. So when you have all these things that you love, especially about Man of Steel and BVS, you just wanted it to exist, but it didn't. It seemed like it had some sort of it was probably out there, like an unfinished version of the movie must exist because Junkie XL had scored it, and then by the time you're in like late 2018, 19, now it's like Zach's shown us stuff, man. Like he's put stuff out there for us to look at. Like we know this thing must actually exist, and he's teased it and teased it and teased it, and until probably in the last 6 months, it didn't really feel like it was going to be a reality. But the fact that it was continuing to be teased, the fact that he was ramping up in the amount of stuff he was putting out there, and hinting at the fact that he had might need some additional shooting to be done. Then it was like, oh, maybe something's going on. When Jason Momoa popped up on an interview and just said, I've seen the cut and it's amazing, people were like, holy, that was like our first confirmation that a cut existed. And once a cut existed, you knew that it actually existed. It was like, let's see it, man. Like, I want to see it. And then, the last few weeks, rumors that, he might be going back to do additional shooting. Like, there's been conversations with Warner Brothers as recently as a couple days ago. Like, negotiations were going on. And you just sat there going, could it be real? And with the pandemic hitting and HBO Max not having a ton of stuff to offer, they don't have their Mandalorian, so to speak. It seemed like a no-brainer from a financial and business standpoint to release it. Like, put it on HBO Max. That'll be your in to get subscribers. You were supposed to have the Friends reunion special that was going to launch with HBO Max. We're not getting that now because can't film anything. You need to get people hyped about your product. A little under a week away. Telling them the Snyder Cut's gonna be on there is the way to do it. And it's just, like I said, it's just exciting, man. Like, one, it shows the power of fandom. Like, fans have a legitimate impact in the movie business. They threaten it all the time in the sports industry, but people never seem to follow through. If you could follow through the way, fandom in the world of cinema is going on, you might be able to make some changes. Hint, hint, New York Knicks fans. Like Dolan, you want him to get rid of the team? Just stop going. Take the money out of his pocket. Things will change, And look at Star Wars. Right? I mean, like, there's lots of positives and negatives to fandom. The negatives being some of the stuff that's happened with Star Wars, trying to sabotage movies. But fans clearly have an impact. This, I would say, is the positive side of fandom. You have someone who cares about their fans, who cares about the material, and they have something that he would love the fans to get to see. He has no way to get it done, between agents and things. It's just not going to happen. Rally up the fans, man. Get them screaming and shouting for long enough. Eventually you have an impact where it's like, we're hearing enough people say this, it would make no sense not to do it. And I think that's ultimately what got us to where we are, right? Like, 2017 and now, it's almost 3 years. December would be 3 years, but it's like 2.5 years almost. You go through that 2.5 years and this release, the Snyder Cut, and all of this out there. If you're Warner Brothers, you know that there's a fan base that wants this thing. And then, if you just trust your creators and you see clearly they liked whatever Zack had to show them, positive things can happen. So they're clearly, fans have a lot more power than I think we've ever given ourselves before, because we can shake things up, man, and rattle cages. And I hate the negative side of fandom. A lot of the Star Wars stuff really makes me sad because I love the Star Wars universe. And I love those movies, and yeah, they're all different and there's ups and downs, but you hate to see the vitriol kill things. But when you see the positivity of fandom, oh, I get so excited, especially for things like the Snyder Cut. So look, color me just a guy who wanted to get it off his chest, put a video out there. Just talk about what I saw in the stream for anyone that didn't see it, and just announce it to the world, baby. The Snyder Cut is coming. As we get more details, I'll try to kind of maybe make some more update videos. But just know, at some period of time in 2021, assuming that the world starts to go back to normal, that Zack can get out, get all the reshoots and things done that he needs to get done to finish the movie, and get it up. 2020 might be sucking a lot, but 2021 has got me excited for a whole bunch of different reasons, and the Snyder Cut coming to HBO Max is just, it's amazing. So look, man, we've lived in the negative of fandom for so long. I wanted to talk about some of the positive. And the positive of a group of people rallying around somebody just as impactful to some degree. And like I said, I think it's just a no-brainer for Warner Brothers from a business side. Like, it made no sense not to release it at this point because, like I said, they've moved far enough away from Justice League, and that essential crew, right outside of Aquaman and Wonder Woman. We don't necessarily need to see any of the other people that were in the movie come back. And even if they did come back, you could kind of do these. We're just gonna do these solo movies or whatever, and just do whatever we want. And if we gotta bring them all together, we will. But the fact that they figured it out, I think, is one of the big reasons that I think it opened up the door for this to be a possibility. I think they must feel confident in where they're going. That like if the movie comes out, it's not gonna be like, crap, now we gotta shake everything up again and go backwards. I think they can keep moving forward. Why not give it to the fans? So I think from a business side of things, that's going to get people to subscribe to HBO Max. Maybe not right away, but they'll definitely see that go up when that release date gets announced. But super, super exciting stuff. That's everything I got to tell you about my experience watching Zack Snyder announce that the Snyder Cut will be coming to HBO Max. So glad that he was the one that got to do it, not a trade, not HBO or Warner Brothers. Or DC. I love that it was Zack. I love that Cavill was there, as well as some fans, on the screen for when that happened. So super exciting stuff if you're a fan of Zack Snyder and the early stages of the DCEU. If you want to see the arc of that trilogy end and maybe see some Darkseid Green Lanterns, I think we're finally going to get to see it. So those everything C-Man's got to say about hashtag the Snyder Cut. Now it's just the Snyder Cut. You've released the Snyder Cut. It's getting released, baby. That's everything I got to say. Now I want to know what you're thinking, man. Are you a fan of Man of Steel or BVS? Did you always want to see that Justice League movie that Zack made and see the true arc to what he was building for that 3-movie run? Is it something you don't care about? How do you feel about fandom? Do you like the negatives or the positives? Well, not do you like the negatives. Nobody likes the negatives. But what about do you hate fandom because of all those negatives? Or are you kind of like, hey, look at the positive impact the fandom could have with stuff like this? Anything you think about that, the Snyder Cut, Superman, should Cavill come back? Should there be a Man of Steel 2? If this does really well, should DC bring Snyder back into the fold and maybe do more Man of Steel movies? Anything you're thinking around this, and whether or not you're just excited, are you going to get HBO Max? Anything you're thinking, man, about this subject, hashtag release the Snyder Cut, which is just hashtag the Snyder Cut now, goes down below in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man as we approach 2021 and hopefully the end of a pandemic, and getting to see the Snyder Cut eventually, and hopefully just getting back to normal and seeing things, and hopefully I can start getting more stuff up for you guys, because I miss talking to y'all. But if you haven't yet and you want to be here for all those types of things, I suggest jumping over there, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell that follows so you get alerts every time I make a new video. Come join the Cinema Sitdown Squad, man. We have a good time here. Love your guys' support. I love interacting with you guys. Hope everyone is doing well, is safe, with their families, friends, your close ones and loved ones. I hope everyone is, surviving out there. Stay strong. We'll get through this together. So that's all I gotta say, man, for this edition of the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down. I've been the C-Man, and I am signing off. Peace. Well, I'll be. You guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. C-Man's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the C-Man goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down Squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.